Sure, we are up and running. Hello, welcome to Peace Talk with Sarah. I'm so glad you are here and super excited. I'm going to update you about what's going on with Gold Tone and then update you about what's going on around the world in India, in France, in Australia, and in the United States. Some of the big stories related to Muslim women, and then we are going to wrap up. But first, about Gold Tone, I am super excited about this week's stories. This week and next week. So first of all, happy Eid al Adha. Eid al Adha is coming. It's the sacrifice day or festival of sacrifice. Very special day for Muslims around the world. I think it is going to be July 19 that Prophet Ibrahim was ordered to sacrifice his own son to show his devotion to God. And then what happened was he passed the test, and God sent sheep instead of sacrificing the son to sacrifice the sheep. I remember back in Tehran, I remember this beautiful festive day that usually we gathered in my grandpa's house, and then my dad would bring 2, 3, 4 sheep, and then we had people who are sacrificing. Women were taking care of parties, men were taking care of other things, and we children were just going around and playing and so forth. It was absolutely a very, very festive day. So it's nostalgic and does remind me of my childhood stories. So it's going to be on July 19, Eid al Adha. Happy Eid al Adha. For that day, we are posting a very particular story. So Sarah Scullin Schreiber find this story. It's dig into old stuff or buy new for summer fashion during Eid al Adha. I know that it's pandemic. I know that we cannot go so many places or anywhere for that matter. Nevertheless, we are dedicated to celebrate anything about Muslim community and stories that relate to what we cover, halal lifestyle and fashion and modest fashion. So therefore, we do have this story. It's coming up on July 14. So go to goldtone.com and you'll see this story. There are a few suggestions about where to buy and what to wear and what to do during Eid al Adha. And another very exciting, super exciting story is coming tomorrow. Today is Thursday, July 8th, and tomorrow is July 9th. So very exciting about this story. We do have the permission to publish this story. Halal Metropolis, an exhibition examines diversity and narratives of Muslim in Michigan. So Detroit, Michigan is one of the populous region in the United States with Arabs and Muslims. In Ann Arbor, I believe, at the University of Michigan, a few of the professors, Americans and Muslims, decided to have this exhibition. So there are Muslim artists showcasing their work in Halal Metropolis. Do check out our website tomorrow, goldtone.com. And you'll find this particular story. It's also a YouTube video that explains what's going on in this exhibition. Okay, and then what else is happening? I'm just looking at my editorial calendar and I'm looking at the note that I have here. Yes, one thing that did happen, if you go to goldtone.com and when you are there, I really encourage you to sign up to our newsletter, info@goldtone.com, or when you go to the website, the a window pops out and doesn't leave you until you leave your email address. But in there we posted a story for our Muslim women friends who would like to travel to Europe alone. So there are 4 safety measures that we are suggesting, and 2 bonus travel tips that we are suggesting for those women who are traveling by themselves. The story is filed by Elena Nikolova, the author and manager of Muslim Travel Girl. So please do check out goldtoon.com, and you'll find a wealth of stories and information on our website. What else is coming up? So we are going to have a story about Muslim Miss Marvel, and also we are going to have a story about Muslim women athleticism, and also what to wear during the exercise and activities. So these are also coming up. These are about what's going on in Goldtoon. We're also booking a few authors. We are in a process of booking Aisha Chaudhry, author of The Color of God, and also Ziba Talkhani, author of My Past is a Foreign Country. And then I'll update you about those. And we are in the process of booking other activists and other Muslim female writers. Nevertheless, talking about Muslim Muslim women, there are a few important issues are happening around the world in this regard that I would like to update you about those stories. Okay, I need to pace myself with this horrible story. A few days ago, there is a website called GitHub. GitHub in India basically put some of the Muslim women in auction. They grabbed the picture of these journalists, activists, and writers from their social media channels, and then they posted on their website, and they auctioned them. They called them Suli deals. Suli is a derogatory term for Muslim women in India, and then basically yes, auctioning. So their story was found by a few journalists, and they they went to the website and they started just complaining until the website pulled down that particular web page. Nevertheless, nothing drastic really took place of punishing people who did this, and there were other people who were supporting, some of the celebrities supporting this thing, and it was just really mind-blowing. Many of the women who were targeted, they were just talking about how tolerant Indian are against this kind of behaviors. So it was mind-blowing to see that these women have put for auction. Not only in India, in France, this bill, they call it anti-Muslim bill, and then it's about ban on face veil. So the French government has been criticized so heavily about this bill, who is prohibiting parents to wear hijab when they are picking up their kids. And it was a different, lots of layers to this bill. But many of the politicians has criticized the bill, and then they call it separatism, if I'm pronouncing the word correctly, that I know I don't. And then Macron is calling it anti-separatism. But nevertheless, many of the international organizations, including Amnesty International, has heavily criticized the bill. They are calling it the new regulations would be a serious attack on rights and freedoms in France. You know what? I was just reading this story. I'm following this face ban in France, and then I'm just thinking, okay, so what's happening, and what's really happening in France? And I just cannot help comparing Iran and France on this particular matter. You know, Iranian government is forcing women to cover their hair, to cover their body. It's in the law, and if you do not cover yourself, it's against the law. You are put in prison. French government is forcing women of not covering themselves, not putting hijab, and not covering. And if they do, they probably would put in prison, or they will be fined. And what is this shit? Honestly, what is this? I mean, if Iran does that, it's, I mean, I'm not supporting Iran by any measure, but it's bad. These are Muslims, these are just authoritarian regimes putting blah, blah, blah on women, blah, blah. And if France does it, oh, that's okay. It's a European country, that's fine. So they just can do whatever they want. What the F? Seriously. So, and then we are talking about democracy. So if France is a democratic nation, why they are doing this? Why they are doing this? Why they are just separating? Anyway, so I think it was in Washington Post. I truly enjoyed this story about they profiled some of the French women activists with their French statements and translating into English statement, their photos, interactive, beautiful, of what is their stand. They were French Muslim activists voicing their concern and criticism against this law, and it was interactive, and I truly enjoyed reading and watching. I have no idea about French, but in my opinion, French is a beautiful language. So I listened to some of those. Nevertheless, these things are, I mean, this is not the only thing happening in, I mean, these kind of things are, France is not the only country who is experiencing this kind of things. It is also happening in the back of our own wood, if I'm explaining the phrase correctly. Anyway, so a pointer, it's in the US. So Pointer is a respectful. I truly love what they do in Pointer journalism. They support journalism and reporting and all of those. So they are gathering stories of journalists of color, and they're asking to share their stories. This was published in New York Times, and it's a synopsis of what has been published in Pointer. So the headline is, "I am a Muslim woman covering the diversity of Brooklyn. Sometimes all people see is my hijab." And it's Zainab Iqbal. She talks about how she basically covers everything in Brooklyn. She was born in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn, does cover Brooklyn. And then she was in one of these protests for George Floyd. And she says that usually people in the protest are very nice, they are very cooperative, and they are very engaged. But one day she was there just taking notes and doing her work, when an older woman came over and told her this: "Did Arabs murder any people today?" She asked, "Did your people burn any pregnant women?" So she was stunned. I mean, I'm guessing that if I was in her shoes, I was stunned, speechless, didn't know exactly what to do or what to say, didn't know, and it happened to her. But she regrets of not saying this. Okay, if I can find it. "Ma'am, you are racist." She regrets of not saying that. This is happening. I mean, and then she goes ahead talking about. I mean, these are reality of her work, and also she calls on editors to support and back these reporters who are facing this kind of discrimination. So this is real. Propaganda and discrimination against Muslim women, especially if they cover, is very real, and we have to find a way to fight against this. So maybe people in Australia are finding a ways. It's another story. story in about Muslim feminism in Australia, and then they are profiling a few outspoken Muslim feminists in Australia, and many of the people, a few people who've been featured here in this piece, they are talking about ways in which Western feminism really left women of color behind and exclude them. It was a discussion that I had with the author of this book, Think Like a Feminist, Carol Hay. I talked with Carol. She's a philosopher. I mean, she teaches philosophy, and then this was exactly one of the issues she was explaining. That I think she called it trans feminism, trans, not transgender. If I'm intersection feminism, I believe. And then the idea of really including stories and experiences of non-white feminists into a discussion. This article talks about many of the commonalities that feminists fight within their own territory, but they really claim that the Western feminist or white women feminists should include them and include them within the discussion. These are a few important issues that caught my attention this week about Muslim women traveling. If you are traveling, if you would like to travel, there are a few safety measures that we think it's important for you. If you travel alone and you are Muslim and you covered, check out our story on golton.com. Happy Eid al Adha, it's coming up and we are very excited. If you would like to dress up for Eid al Adha, we have some suggestions for you. And then we ought to take Muslim Americans more seriously within the United States, and one of the ways is to exhibit their talent and their art, and that's happening in Michigan by Halal Metropolis. I'm very excited. Thank you so much for being here and being my guest. With my team, we are putting together a new episode, a new season for you, and we hope to see you very soon. Thank you. Take care.